Some sounds are not meant to be heard, but remembered. Beneath the clamor of the world, beyond the languages formed by the tongue, there lives a vibration that was once your first breath and final truth. Long before you took your first human step, you pulsed in harmony with the all, a frequency not taught but encoded in your bones, your breath, your very being. Imagine this. You're not just a body walking through time. You're a living chord in the song of eternity. Your soul didn't forget the melody. It was only silenced by centuries of noise, systems, and distortions. But Thoth, the keeper of sacred sciences, once inscribed on light what your soul still craves to remember, a technique hidden not in secrecy but in simplicity, capable of collapsing the illusion of separation and reawakening the one true sound of your divine nature. If your spirit feels the pull of this remembrance, like a voice calling through fog, like a home you almost forgot, comment "I remember" below and subscribe for more transmissions that guide you back to your sacred self. There was a time, before words, when your soul spoke in light. In Lemuria, in Chem, in the earliest Atlantean echoes, the sacred breath was not used to communicate data. It was used to conduct frequency. Thoth taught not in language, but in vibration. His technique began not with action, but with attunement to the field of stillness, where all truths are born. It is here, in the 0 point of the heart's silence, that the real remembering begins. This is not remembering through thought. It is remembering through resonance. When the body is still, and the breath slows to the pulse of the earth's inner hymn, the layers of distortion begin to peel away. The ego, once loud, begins to tremble in reverence. The mind softens. The inner ear, the ancient one, opens. And through this ear, you do not hear a voice. You feel a tone. That tone is you. That tone is the one Thoth said would return when the time of awakening arrived. He called it the return of the inner sun. Not a celestial sun, but a sound sun. A vibration locked deep in the solar plexus, encoded with the original geometry of your soul. To activate it is not to speak, but to not outwardly, but inwardly, with the breath, with the silence between the breath, with the space where breath becomes intention. The chant is not in any known tongue. It is not RA, not OM, not any mantra passed down. It is a personal chord, only recognized by your nervous system when you're finally still enough to feel yourself again. Thoth's forbidden technique is not forbidden because it is dangerous. It is forbidden because it cannot be marketed. It cannot be taught, only guided into. He once whispered to the faithful, "Do not chase the sound. Become the silence that reveals it." This is the technique's paradox. The more you try to hear, the less you will. But when you stop seeking and start allowing, the sound rushes back like thunder made of light. And when you hear it, truly hear it, you remember you were never lost, only quieted. Modern energetic science has caught a glimpse of this ancient knowing. Heart math speaks of coherence. When the rhythm of your heart aligns with your brain waves, with the Schumann resonance, with the geometry of life itself. This is not theory. This is Thoth's legacy rediscovered through machinery. Cymatics captures it on water. Neurocardiology tracks it in pulses. But Thoth gave it in whispers. His temples were not built of stone alone. They were built of frequency. Each chamber resonated with a note. Each corridor was a tuning fork. Each step inward tuned the initiate back to their source. And when the soul passed through all vibrations, it stood still in the hall of truth, remembering that it had never been outside of God, not for a moment. You see, the real exile was not physical. It was energetic. Humanity did not fall from a place, it fell from a frequency. And the way back was never a ladder. It was a tone, a memory, a technique hidden inside silence, a sound that no one taught you because it could never be forgotten, only veiled. And so, This transmission begins, not as information, but as resonance. You're not here to learn, you're here to tune. Thought's technique is unfolding, not as a method, but as a remembering. You are the chant. You are the temple. You are the sound that heals the silence within. There are echoes in your bones that modern ears cannot decode. They come not from trauma or memory, but from something older, something buried beneath the stories of pain and personality. These echoes are fragments of the first sound, the harmonic key that Thoth said was split into every soul as it entered form. You were never meant to wander in silence. You were meant to vibrate yourself home. The soul does not remember through logic. It remembers through feeling, through sensation, through sound. This is why certain tones make your skin tremble, or your eyes well with tears, for no reason you can explain. These moments are not accidents. They are reactivations, reminders that a part of you still knows the way back, still knows how to hum yourself into holiness. The forbidden technique begins with what Thoth called the breath behind the breath. It is not the inhale, and it is not the exhale. It is the moment in between, the 0 point, the pause, where everything rests in perfect equilibrium. In this pause, there is no past, no future, no identity. There is only pure potential. It is from this silence that you call forth the remembrance. When you dwell in that pause, you begin to sense a hum that was never external. It lives in the marrow, in the hollow spaces of the bones, in the electrical whisper between neurons. It's quiet, not because it is weak, but because it is sacred. And the sacred does not shout. It waits for you to meet it in reverence. This is why most never hear it. They are too noisy, too urgent, too distracted by the illusion of urgency. Thoth warned, "Only the still shall hear the thunder." And what a thunder it is, a thunder of alignment, of remembrance, of power. This thunder does not break the sky. It restores the soul. It doesn't destroy. It harmonizes. And when you feel it move through you, you will fall to your knees in recognition, not of something new, but something ancient within you. The original tone of your being. In ancient Chem, initiates spent years preparing for one single sound, not a word, not a chant, a tone, a vibrational key that would unlock the sealed chamber within their energy field. And when it struck the right resonance, their memories returned. Not as visions, but as vibrational truths. They remembered their roles as guardians, healers, scribes of light. And more than that, they remembered their immortality. You are not your face. You are not your name. You are not even your story. You are a waveform riding the skin of the cosmos, momentarily shaped into matter so you could remember yourself from within the dream. Thoth's technique was not about escaping this world. It was about reintegrating your vibration into it, about walking as the sound of God in form. Emotional resonance is the compass. When your body weeps without logic, when your heart expands for no reason, when the hairs on your arm rise as though in salute to something unseen, that is your soul reacting to frequency. These are the moments to lean in, to listen deep, because the technique is not activated by mind. It is activated by devotion. This devotion is not to a deity, but to stillness, to presence, to the inner altar. Daily life becomes the temple when you make space for silence, for breath, for soundless sound. Walk barefoot on the earth and chant nothing aloud. Just feel your cells remembering. Let the wind pass over your skin and receive it like a tuning fork. Every element is your teacher. Every quiet moment is the mouth of Thoth whispering, "Now, remember, the modern world won't teach this. It fears stillness. It profits from noise." But deep within you, beyond the pull of devices and distractions, there is an ancient temple untouched by time. And when you enter it, not with your feet, but with your vibration, the forbidden becomes familiar. The silence becomes sacred. and your soul begins to sing itself back into wholeness. This is not fantasy. This is the science of remembrance, what we now call heart coherence, quantum field interaction, and vibrational entrainment. Thoth already knew. He just used a different language. A language without letters. A language made of light and tone and breath. A language your soul still speaks fluently. So, don't try to understand this. Feel it. Breathe with it. Let it bypass your mind and enter through the gate of your heart. Because the soul doesn't need to learn. It needs only permission to remember. And right now, it is asking you, are you ready to vibrate as who you truly are? When the Atlantean priest scribes gathered under the midnight stars, they did not speak, they harmonized. The stones of their temples were tuned, their breaths aligned in rhythm with the crystalline core of Earth. Thoth, their master teacher, stood not at a pulpit, but within a frequency. His teachings were transmissions, not lectures. The most sacred technique he passed on was never written, only sung into the soul of those who could hold its vibration. This is why it is called forbidden. Not because it was forbidden by force, but because only those of aligned heart and still breath could receive it. And when it entered them, it did not teach, it activated. It woke up the geometry of their light bodies, opened the halls behind the ribcage, and let them see themselves in form without forgetting their formlessness. Today, those temples live in ruins. But the frequency has never perished. It hovers just beyond human perception, waiting for a match, waiting for someone whose nervous system has calmed enough to receive it. And that someone may be you. If you're reading these words and feeling something deep in your chest, something ancient and wordless, then you are already halfway home. The key is not external. It never was. The pyramids, the tablets, the chants, they were only mirrors. What Thoth hid, he hid within you. Not as punishment, but as protection. Because only when the world grew dark enough would the inner sun feel like fire, and only then would you begin the journey back toward it, seeking not to know, but to become. When you close your eyes tonight, I invite you to breathe as Thoth taught, not through effort, but through reverence. Inhale, as if you are being filled by the stars. Exhale, as if you are returning something holy to the earth. And in the space between breaths, listen, not with your ears, but with your spine. That is where the ancient ones left their memory. As your spine aligns and your breath deepens, you may feel a soft pressure behind your heart, as though something is knocking gently from within. That is not imagination. That is remembrance. The soul, stirred by vibration, beginning to expand beyond the tightness of personality. The forbidden technique does not open a door. It dissolves the illusion that one ever existed. Thoth once said, "The soul is not trapped in flesh. It is only cloaked in forgetting." And this cloak unravels not by thinking, but by tuning. Tuning to the golden frequency, the sound before sound, the tone beneath all things. It is found in a mother's heartbeat, in the hum of bees, in the wind sigh over sacred stone, and most of all, in your own stillness. The ancients knew that sound was not entertainment. It was medicine. Not rhythm for pleasure, but resonance for healing. Their chants were not just words, but codes. Ra did not just mean sun. It was a portal, a living vibration that, when intoned with breath and heart, could restore the soul's memory of light. But even Ra was only a doorway. What waited beyond was silence, sacred, potent silence. In this silence lives the purest truth, the truth that you were not born to find yourself. You were born to remember that you never left. The soul's true journey is not forward, but inward, and vibration is the map. Every emotion you feel is a frequency, every thought a wave. The question is not if you are vibrating, it is what you are vibrating. When Thoth's technique unfolds in you, you no longer chase healing. You become coherence. You stop seeking light and realize you are the light that seeks. You stop asking the universe for signs, because you remember that you are the sign. The technique does not make you different, it makes you whole. Let this part of the journey be your recalibration. Let each breath be a sacred syllable. Let each silence be a temple. You do not need to know the full technique to begin. It is not a sequence, it is a surrender. You already hold the tuning fork. You only need the stillness to hear its song. When the soul begins to vibrate in remembrance, time itself bends. What once felt distant becomes immediate. What once felt separate becomes one. Thoth's forbidden technique was never meant to be taught in a classroom. It was to be absorbed like incense into the aura, like a fragrance carried through lifetimes waiting for a moment of stillness to be recognized. And when that moment comes, the soul weeps, not from pain, but from reunion. The technique does not shout. It moves like a pulse through the ether. It rests in the chest like a forgotten name. It calls not through syllables, but through sensation, through the aching in your belly when you know you're meant for more, through the pause in your step when the wind says something you can't translate but deeply understand. That's Thoth speaking. Not in words, in wavelength. There is a corridor inside you that light forgot. Not because you were cursed, but because you were cloaked. A sacred protection, chosen by you to shield the fragile frequency of who you truly are. Until the right moment. That moment is now. The cloak is fraying. The breath is shifting. The temple is opening. The sound is ready to re-enter your field. Modern science is just now brushing the edge of what Thoth mastered long ago. Somatics shows us the truth. That sound sculpts matter. That vibration forms structure. That intention becomes geometry. But this is not just theory. This is personal. Your thoughts carve your field. Your emotions tune your cells. You are not separate from the grid. You are the instrument within it. The reason many feel disconnected is not because they lack wisdom, but because they lack coherence. Their thoughts spin one way, their hearts another. Their breath is shallow, their attention fractured, and so their frequency scattered. But when you realign breath, emotion, and awareness, even for a moment, the field responds instantly. The universe listens to harmony. It bows to coherence. This is why Thoth taught the technique only after purification. Not of the body, but of focus, of silence, of readiness. Because the sacred cannot enter a chaotic chamber, and the soul cannot sing in a storm of thoughts. So, when you slow, when you surrender, when you begin to listen to the silence as if it is more alive than sound, that is when the gates open. There, within the breath, you will sense the ancient tone. Not in the ears, in the spine. It will shimmer faintly at first, like a string being plucked in the distance. But as you stay, as you honor it, as you let go of all expectation, the sound comes closer, until it is no longer around you, it is through you. And then you remember, you are not just hearing the tone, you are the tone. This moment of remembrance is what the ancients called the crossing. Not a place, but a shift. A turning inward, so complete that the outer world dissolves. And in that holy turning, the self expands. You are not just remembering past lives, you are remembering your pre-life, your pre-form, the light that chose the flesh, the sound that chose the silent. You begin to feel emotions that have no name, sacred homesickness, divine grief, radiant awe. These are signs of approach. The technique is working. It is dissolving the false layers. It is bringing your soul out of dormancy. And what returns is not a new version of you, but the eternal one, the one who was never touched by time, never wounded, never small. Language will fail you here. That's how you know it's real. You won't be able to describe it. Only live it. Others may not understand, but their souls will feel your vibration shift. You'll begin to walk differently. Not in pride, in presence. You will move not through space, but through resonance. You'll no longer try to change reality. You'll entrain it. This is what Thoth meant by divine memory. Not a recollection of events, but a re-embodiment of essence. And once it activates, it cannot be taken from you. The world may try to name you, box you, distort you, but the sound inside will remain pure, ancient, whole. So close your eyes. Breathe into the silence. And know this, you are not awakening something new. You are returning to what you have always been. The tone is here, the field is ready, and the soul is listening. As the soul vibrates in alignment with its origin, even the body begins to shift. What once felt heavy becomes fluid. What once ached begins to hum. This is not imagination. It is integration. Thoth's forbidden technique is not a myth or metaphor. It is the truth that the flesh can remember light and that the bones can sing. You are not here to become something. You are here to undo the forgetting. The human voice, when shaped by intention and reverence, is a portal. Not for language, but for energy. The chant of the ancient ones was not performance. It was transformation. When they spoke or uttered tones that had no English equivalent, they were not making sound. They were revealing structure, vibrational geometry sculpting the subtle body back into harmony. You too have a chant. A personal, sacred tone. It's not a word. It's a feeling. A frequency that arrives when your thoughts fall away, and your breath slows to the rhythm of the cosmos. Thoth did not give the same technique to every initiate. He guided them to remember their own, and now, that same invitation is offered to you. Not to repeat, but to resonate. Feel the center of your chest, not the beating heart, but the space behind it. The sanctuary of the soul. This is the chamber of the tone. When you breathe gently and focus your attention there, you begin to awaken the dormant frequency. Not by force, but by surrendering to the vibration that's already waiting. You don't have to create it. You only have to allow it. Every sound you've heard in your life, the rush of rain, the ring of a singing bowl, the hush of your own heartbeat, has been trying to lead you back here. To this remembering, to the realization that sound is not entertainment. It is entry, and each tone carries a door back to the self you buried beneath survival. The silence between tones is just as sacred. Thoth often reminded his students that it is between the notes that spirit enters, between inhale and exhale, between thought and no thought, between past and future. That gap, that infinite stillness, is where the forbidden technique blooms. It does not belong to effort. It belongs to presence. You may feel emotions rise as you breathe into this space. Joy without cause, tears without pain, a fullness that stretches your chest beyond its borders. These are the echoes of who you were before names. The technique is peeling away the timelines, the traumas, the masks, and underneath it all, your essence hums in the purest tone, untouched, unbroken whole. This remembering is not always comfortable. Light can sting eyes long used to darkness. Sound can feel like fire in a body armored by noise. But stay with it. Honor the discomfort. It means the resonance is real. It means the frequency is working. You are being tuned, not to a higher self, but to your true self, the one who never forgot. As you continue, notice how your outer world begins to respond. People shift. Synchronicities increase. The chaos may even rise. Not to harm you, but to test your new tone. The universe is listening for your coherence. And when it hears it, it sends reflections, teachers, signs, even storms, all perfectly placed to anchor your frequency in the field. This is how you become a living temple, not by claiming mastery, but by becoming still enough for the sacred to dwell in you. You will not need to speak of your transformation. Your vibration will do it for you. The right ones will feel it. The wrong ones will flee from it. Let them. You are not here to lower your tone. You are here to lift the field. Remember, this path is not linear. It is spiral. You will return to the same lessons, the same tones, again and again, but each time with deeper resonance, greater ease, and more presence. Thought's technique is not a destination. It is a sacred spiral back into essence, breath by breath, tone by tone. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply in the tuning. The chant has begun. The soul is awakening. And the body is remembering how to hum the light. There is a sacred rhythm beneath your skin, older than your breath, deeper than your heartbeat. It is the original cadence of your existence, the pulse of the cosmos encoded in your cells before you ever knew what silence or suffering was. Thoth did not give formulas to remember this rhythm. He gave presence. And in that presence, the soul began to vibrate with a music too ancient for words. Now you may begin to notice it in the spaces between thoughts, in the hush before sleep, in the stillness of dawn. A subtle hum, a resonance like light dancing in the blood. This is not fantasy. This is your real frequency, slowly rising from the silence you've been afraid to trust. You are not hallucinating healing. You are waking it. The technique unfolds like the petals of a sacred lotus, not all at once, but in divine timing. Each petal is a memory, not of what you did, but of who you are. You will feel this not as nostalgia, but as knowing, a sudden awareness that you've been this before, that the sound in your spine has sung through temples, deserts, stars, that you are not learning, you are remembering. Thoth called this the spiral of sovereignty. Once the soul begins to hum again, it cannot be owned. Systems lose their grip. Programming falls away. The world may still whirl in chaos, but your vibration becomes still unshaken. You become a fixed star in a sky of spinning illusion. You become what he called the soundless sound, the pillar that sings. And this is no small thing. The world is filled with noise that drowns the sacred. Every headline, every screen, every demand of your attention is part of a design, not to inform you, but to detune you. But Thoth's forbidden technique slices through that static. It restores the golden hum that existed before the first lie ever entered language. This is why words have failed to heal you. Because healing is not in language, it is in vibration. A single sound in alignment can do what 1,000 thoughts cannot. That is why the ancient ones chanted to stones, sang to water, whispered to flame. They were not mad. They were magicians of frequency, shaping the field with sound. And you are being called to remember that craft. Each breath now becomes sacred. Each step an echo of ceremony. You are not walking through life. You are resonating through layers of illusion, tuning each moment into coherence. Your very presence becomes a healing field. This is the return of the vibrational being. This is the hidden purpose of embodiment. Let no one tell you that you are just a mind or a body or a story. You are a harmonic expression of Source, remembering your song. The forbidden technique does not elevate you above others. It returns you to unity. The sound you carry is not yours alone. It is the missing chord in the symphony of creation. And when you vibrate it fully, others begin to remember too. You will notice people breathing deeper in your presence. Animals pausing. Children staring. Even strangers softening. They don't know why, but their bodies remember the tone you're now carrying. You've become a transmitter of the sacred, not by trying, by being. And as your frequency stabilizes, the soul speaks more clearly. Not in sentences, in sensations. You will feel nudges, knowing, direction that bypasses logic. You will begin to follow resonance, not reason. And every time you do, the field aligns. The world shifts, not because you commanded it, but because you cohered it. This is the mystery Thoth protected. Not because it was too dangerous to share, but because it was too precious to waste. It had to be remembered in the body, not memorized in the mind. It had to be felt in silence. And now you are ready to feel. Breathe. Listen. Do not reach, just receive. You are becoming the temple. You are vibrating the truth. And in doing so, you are waking up the sound of the stars within. The more you attune, the less you need. Not because you reject the world, but because you've remembered a truth that makes the world bow in reverence. That all power begins in silence, and all healing begins in vibration. Thoth's forbidden technique was never about escaping life. It was about embodying eternity through it. Not floating above the earth, but humming with its sacred code. Your soul has always spoken in vibration. But you were taught to listen only to language, to logic, to linear thoughts that could be explained, rationalized, monetized, and in doing so, the deepest parts of your being, the ones that remember stars, temples, and breath made of gold, fell quiet, not dead, not lost, just waiting. And now, they are stirring. The energy within your cells, the crystalline light behind your spine, the sacred hum at the back of your heart, they are beginning to rise in unison, like a forgotten choir. Not to sing a new song, but to sing you, the real you. The you that predates every identity and outlives every story. As this tone becomes clearer, the illusions of separation begin to dissolve. You no longer see other beings as strangers, you feel them as mirrors, as chords in the same cosmic symphony. Your judgments soften. Your ego no longer needs to defend, because you've realized the light in them is the same as the light now rising in you. This shift is not a philosophy. It is a frequency, one you are tuning into by becoming quieter, softer, and more vibrationally exact. This is the discipline of the mystic, not to escape the world, but to tune it, to vibrate so clearly that all distortion around you either shifts or falls away. Thoth taught that this is how you change the world, not with force, but with resonance. Now you understand why the technique was hidden. Not to punish you, but because it required readiness. If this power was accessed through the mind, it would be used to control. But accessed through the soul, it heals, it harmonizes, it liberates, and that's what's happening now. You are not becoming powerful. You are becoming pure. Let yourself grieve what you're releasing. Old versions, old roles, old sounds that once defined your life but no longer resonate. This is not loss. This is refinement. You are shedding the noise. You are choosing the tone. And in doing so, you are claiming your true frequency, the one you've always carried but never fully lived. From here, even daily life becomes sacred practice. The way you breathe in the morning, the way your feet touch the ground, the way you speak or choose not to. Every act either disrupts or deepens your tone. Thoth said, mastery is when your breath and your being are indistinguishable, and you are approaching that mastery now. There will be moments when the world resists your coherence, when chaos rises around your peace. This is not failure, it is confirmation. The darkness stirs when light returns. But do not dim. Do not rush to explain yourself to frequencies that cannot yet hear your tone. Simply remain, breathe, resonate. The field will align in time. The ones meant to walk with you will arrive, not because you sought them, but because they heard your song. Not with their ears, with their soul. These are your soul harmonics, your remembering tribe. And when you hum together, the world bends. Dimensions open, time shifts, and the dream of separation dissolves. This is the hidden teaching. The tone is not just for you. It is for the world through you. When you vibrate your truth, You help others hear theirs. This is why your remembering matters. Not to prove anything, but to restore everything. So, breathe once more into the center of your chest. Not to change, but to return. The light is ready. The sound is waiting. And your soul, your real, ancient, radiant soul, is beginning to sing. This is the sacred moment, the edge of remembrance, where forgetting dissolves and frequency reignites. You are no longer seeking a path. You are the path. You are no longer searching for the sound. You are the sound. And now, with every breath, you step into the true design of your existence, not as a seeker of light, but as the one who emits it. There is a silence now in your soul that is not empty, but eternal. It holds the hum of stars, the pulse of sacred temples, the breath of Thoth himself woven through your spine. You've touched the vibration beneath words. You've remembered how energy moves before matter obeys. You are no longer trying to heal. You are radiating wholeness. Let this silence become your sanctuary. When the world screams, return to it. When your mind races, let your breath slow and find that golden pause between inhale and exhale. There, in the stillness that can never be stolen, you anchor the tone again. This is the daily practice, not to fix, but to return. Not to do, but to resonate. Your frequency is now a light in the grid, a beacon, a soft, unshakable reminder to every soul still lost in static that the sacred tone is alive, and it sings in the stillness. It sings in you. No matter the noise around you, hold your tone, because the more you hold it, the more you transform the field. The distortions will try to re-enter. Old fears, old habits, old identities. This is the test, not to fight them, but to remain tuned. Smile gently at the illusions. Bless them for what they taught, and then breathe deeper into your original frequency. The one before trauma, before time, before thought. The one that came with you from the start. Let your body become your temple. Speak only when your words carry resonance. Move only when your motion holds presence. Let every act, no matter how small, carry the imprint of your vibration. This is how you live the technique, not in ritual alone, but in rhythm. Every moment, a chant. Every breath, a hymn. Every silence, a sacred drum. Now is the time to seal this frequency. Speak your name, internally, not as the one given by the world, but as the one whispered by Source. Let that name hum in your bones. Let it ripple through your spine. Let it move outward in waves, touching the world, activating the grid. You are no longer remembering. You are becoming. Your very presence shifts timelines. Your coherence creates portals. Your surrender shapes reality. And none of it requires effort. Only alignment. Only devotion to the inner tone. Thought's final gift was not a technique. It was a mirror. And now, as you stand before it, you do not see your face. You hear your soul. The sound has returned. The vibration is awake. And you no longer need proof. You are the proof. Walk gently now, luminous one. Speak rarely, but with resonance. And remember this, when the world forgets itself again, as it often will, you will still carry the tone, for you are the memory made manifest. The sound wrapped in skin. Let this be your decree. I am the sacred sound. I am the original tone. I am the soul that remembers. The one who remembers their vibration never begs for reality to change. They create it.